Hi everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to make the sunny sand dollar square that you see here for this tutorial. For this crochet pattern, you are going to need a size G 4mm crochet hook and a size 2 weight yarn. So I'm using Hobby Twister yarn. It is 55% cotton and 45% acrylic, and it's a number 2 weight yarn. And I'm using obviously the center pole and working my way out from the gradient, and you can see that the colors are really beautiful. So this square works itself from the inside out with a circle motif that turns into a granny stitch around the edges. And the great thing about this pattern is that it is join as you go. So that means that every time that you complete a square, you can join it to the previous square that you've completed. So let's get started on the sunny sand dollar square. We're going to begin with a slip knot and get our hook ready to go here. And then we're going to start with a chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this chain 4 counts as your first double crochet, and the 4th chain from the hook is going to be where we're putting all of our additional stitches in order to start our circle for the center of our square. So the first 3 chains count as a double crochet, and then the last chain here is where we're going to be doing all of our work. So you are going to insert your hook into the 4th chain from the hook and complete a double crochet. So now we have 2 because we just completed a double crochet, and we have our chain 3, which counts as an additional double crochet. So now we need 6 more to have a total of 8 double crochets in our ring. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And when you have 8 double crochets, including that chain 3, you're going to join with a slip stitch at the top of the first double crochet or the chain 3 with a slip stitch. So that's the first round completed of our sunny sand dollar square. For round 2, we're going to start with a chain 3, which again takes the place of our first double crochet. And then we're going to do a front post double crochet on the first stitch. So a front post double crochet, if you need a reminder, is to yarn over, insert your hook from the back to the front around the post of the stitch indicated. Then you're going to yarn over and complete your double crochet as normal. So yarn over, draw through 2 times. So that's the first double crochet, or front post double crochet I should say. Now we're going to do 2 front post double crochets on each of the stitches around. So on the next stitch, a front post double crochet and an additional front post double crochet on that exact same stitch. So 2 on each post. So since we had 8 double crochets to begin with, we're going to end up with 16 front post double crochets at the end of this round to double our total of stitches. Now I'm doing my Sunny Sand Dollar blanket in partnership with Hobby Yarn for their Here Comes the Sun challenge. And it's been so much fun. The color theme is yellow for obviously for the sunshine. And the Sunny Sand Dollar blanket that I'm making is turning out so beautiful with this twister yarn, because every single square that I make is just a little bit sunnier as I'm going from the inside of the yarn to the outside. So I'm really enjoying it so far. And you can see all of the Here Comes the Sun projects for the Hobby Here Comes the Sun challenge on Instagram if you check out their Instagram page, and also the hashtag Here Comes the Sun. So now that we have 2 stitches on every post, we are going to join with a slip stitch to finish off round 2. And make sure you just double count that you have 16 stitches in this round for round 2. And now let's do round 3. Round 3 is going to be very similar, and as well as round 4, we're going to keep working on our circle here. So we're chaining 3 and we're working in front post double crochets. So now instead of 2 on every stitch, we're doing 2 on the first. Obviously the chain 3 counts as the first stitch though, so we just did 1 front post double crochet. We're going to do 1 on the next, 2 on the next, so 1 and 2, and 1 on the next. So basically it's 2 then 1, 2 then 1, 2 then 1, all the way around. And the final stitch count for this round will be 24 stitches. We're working in multiples of 8, so just make sure that you count your stitches before moving on to the next round. And you should have 24. The next round is the same, so you're going to do, instead of 2 1 2 1 2 1, you're going to do 2 1 1 2 1 1 all the way around to get 32 stitches for round 4. So I'm going to complete rounds 3 and 4 here, following that pattern. And round 5 is where it changes a little bit, so I will meet you back for round 5. So we've done rounds 1 through 4 with all of our front post double crochets. It creates this beautiful texture on the center of our square. And so now we're ready to do round 5, and round 5 has a little bit of a special stitch. It's a front post popcorn. So I'm going to show you how to complete that stitch now. So it begins the same way with a chain 3. We're going to front post double crochet on the first stitch for 2 stitches. We're going to front post double crochet on the next 2. So 1 and 2. And then working on this next stitch here, we're going to do a front post popcorn stitch. So all that means is a regular popcorn stitch, but we're working in front post double crochets instead of double crochets. So the way that works is we're going to front post double crochet 5 times on this post. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can kind of see that they twist on top of each other, creates a little bit of a spiral there. Don't worry about that, that's fine. And for a popcorn stitch, you're going to elongate your working loop, remove your hook from that loop, count back to the first stitch, or you can just see it, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's this one here. We're going to insert our hook into the first stitch that we made of this popcorn. You're going to insert your hook back onto your working loop and tighten it and draw it through that first stitch. And we create a popcorn stitch. It has a little bit of a twist at the bottom. That's the front post double crochets. So let's do that repeat again. We're going to do 2 front post double crochets on the first stitch. So 1 and 2, that's our increase. Front post double crochet on the next 2, so 1 and 2, and then we're going to do that front post popcorn. So on this post, we're going to front post double crochet 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Elongate your working loop, remove your hook, count back 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the first stitch. Insert your hook into the first stitch from the front. Put your hook through the working loop and draw it through the first stitch to close the popcorn. Now there's no chain or anything after, you just go straight to the next stitch and continue the repeat here. So I'm going to continue working around and I will see you back for round 7, because round 6 is actually just a similar repeat to the previous rounds that we've done, so 3 and 4. those are all kind of the same, except for you're just working your front post double crochet around the popcorn. So you can complete round 6, and then I'll see you back for round 7. Before we go on to round 7, I wanted to show you how to do the front post double crochet on the popcorn stitch. So you can see that round 6 is almost complete. I'm on my last popcorn stitch here. You're going to yarn over for a front post double crochet, and you're going to just put your hook behind the entire popcorn. So you can see the whole popcorn is popping out, and you're going to do your front post double crochet just like normal around that entire popcorn stitch. So let's take a look at the next round, which is round 7. So for round 7, we're going to be doing some back post double crochets instead of front post double crochets. And all that means is we're going to start with a chain 3, just like we have been. And instead of going from the front to the back, we're just going to go from the back to the front and push that post backwards to do a back post double crochet. And sometimes it's a little finicky to do 2 on 1, but you do 2 on the first, so obviously the chain 3 counts as number 1, and we're going to do back post double crochets. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's the repeat. So it's 2 in the first, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back post double crochets. So on this next one, we're going to do 2 back post double crochets. So 1 and 2, and then a back post double crochet on the next 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The next round is just single crochets in the tops of the stitches to increase our round to a repeat of 8. So you're just going to be doing simple single crochets into the tops of the stitches, and then I'll meet you back for turning our circle into a square. Okay, so we're ready to turn our circle into a square. So we're going to start with a chain 3. And this is going to be the first half of a corner. So we're not going to finish the entire corner. We're going to do 2 double crochets in this spot. And when we get all the way around to the end of this round, that's when we're going to finish this corner. So we're going to chain 1, skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do 3 half double crochets in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do 3 single crochets in the next. Chain 1, skip 3, 3 half double crochets in the next. Chain 1, skip 3, and we're going to do a corner. So it's 3 double crochets, chain 2 for the corner, and 3 more double crochets in this exact same spot. Now we're going to repeat our side. So chaining 1, skip 3, 3 half double crochets, chain 1, skip 3, and 3 single crochets. Chain 1, skip 3, 3 half double crochets, chain 1, skip 3, and we're going to do that corner. So 3 double crochets, chain 2 for the corner, and 3 more double crochets. Chain 1, skip 3, 3 half double crochets, chain 1, skip 3, 3 single crochets, chain 1, skip 3, 3 half double crochets, chain 1, skip 3, a corner, so 1, 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2 for the corner, and 3 more double crochets, chain 1, skip 3, 3 half double crochets, chain 1, skip 3, 3 single crochets, chain 1, skip 3, 3 half double crochets, and we're going to finish off that corner, so chain 1 and working in the same spot 3 double crochets to finish off this corner, chain 2 for the corner, and join to our first stitch, which is our starting chain here. So you can see we are turning our circle into a square. So let's do our final round of our sunny sand dollar square. So the final round of our sunny sand dollar square is a simple granny square. So we're going to chain 3 and do 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. That's the first half of our corner, and we're going to finish it when we get all the way back around. So now we're going to chain 1 and do 3 double crochets in the chain 1 spaces across this side. Chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the chain 1 space, and we're at a corner, so we're going to chain 1 and we're going to do a new corner. So it's 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. Now I have been doing join as you go for my granny square blanket so far, so sorry, for my sunny sand dollar blanket. So I'm going to leave 2 edges of my sunny sand dollar square unworked, and then I'm going to show you how I've been joining it as you go. So that means that you join your working final round to the edge of your blanket as you go, so that you don't have to sew any additional squares together. It's just a faster way of joining the squares without having to do any sewing. So I'm going to leave this side unfinished and this side unfinished, and I'm going to start this corner because I'm joining to the sides of 2 squares on my blanket. So I'm going to bring that in and I'll show you. So I haven't completed this corner yet. I'm going to bring in my blanket square, and I'm going to be joining to these 2 edges on my sunny sand dollar blanket. So here and here. So you can see I've left this edge unworked and this edge unworked, and this is where we started on my square. So all that happens when you're doing join as you go is you substitute the chain 1s for slip stitches in order to slip stitch to the chain 1 spaces on your blanket. So obviously these will all match up. You'll have the exact same number of chain 1 spaces on your square. So for this corner, usually you would chain 2 for a corner, but I'm just going to chain 1 and then I'm going to slip stitch to the other corner. So I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to slip stitch to the square that I'm joining to in the corner. So slip stitch. And then I'm going to finish my corner here with 3 more double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Now, usually you would chain 1 and work 3 double crochets here, but instead of chaining 1, I'm going to slip stitch to the next chain 1 space on the square that I'm joining to instead. So we slip stitched, and now we're going to do the 3 double crochets. My yarn over keeps falling off there. So 1, 2, and 3. Normally you would chain 1 and do your 3 double crochets, but I'm going to slip stitch to the next chain 1 space on my joining square and then do the 3 double crochets on my working square. So don't chain 1, instead slip stitch, 3 double crochet, don't chain 1, slip stitch instead, 3 double crochet, slip stitch, and we're in a corner, so I'm going to do 3 double crochet. Instead of chaining 2 for the corner, I'm going to slip stitch to these 2 corners of the joining squares, so this one and this one, so 2 slip stitches, and then I'll finish my corner on my working square with the additional 3 double crochets. And then I can continue joining the other side. So we're going to slip stitch instead of chaining 1, work 3 double crochets, slip stitch, work 3 more double crochets, slip stitch, 3 double crochets, slip stitch, and we're almost back to where we started on this final round of the square. Slip stitch. So I'm back in my corner to finish the other side of the corner. So normally you would chain 2 for a corner, so I'm just going to chain 1 and then slip stitch because I only have 1 corner to join to. And then I'm going to join my round because it's done. So you can see how that join as you go method works. I still have all my ends to weave in, obviously. And it creates just an easier way of joining those squares together without this sewing involved, which is actually quite nice. So that's the Sunny Sand Dollar square. I hope you enjoy making it, and I can't wait to see your blankets.